Hi, in this video, we're going to talk about what happens when you quit sugar, even fruit, for 4 weeks. So week one is going to be the hard part. And if you struggled with any addictive pattern, substance abuse, the week one is typically the hardest. Or if you've done some elimination or diet before, that week one is the hard part. But why? With sugar, your body's been running on a steady drip of sugar, and now that's gone. So here's what you can expect. And keep in mind, again, I'm generalizing a bit because everybody's different, but this should give you some comfort and knowing you're not alone. So the first couple of days, your body, it's burning through the stored sugar, glycogen. And since that sugar is stored in water, you'll probably drop a few pounds fast. Now that's fun. It's water weight, not fat. Still, it's a nice early win. And for me, always keeps me motivated. Days 2 through 4. Now, this is when it gets really tough. Most people hit the wall here. Usually, if for me, typically it's day 3. But a lot of people are experiencing headaches, brain fog, fatigue, crankiness, and cravings that feel almost desperate. And they do usually peak around day 3. And this isn't just in your head. Please know you're not crazy. I have felt crazy many times going through this thing. Sugar triggers a very desperate dopamine hit in your brain. So pulling it out feels like a withdrawal because it is one. Your sleep and mood might also be a bit off. But by the end of week 1, your body starts shifting its fuel source from sugar to fat, and your blood sugar and your insulin settle into a lower, steadier pattern instead of spiking and crashing. And something super interesting is your taste buds start becoming more sensitive to sweetness. This kicks off now and gets more noticeable as the weeks go on. Now, if you're dealing with Candida, yeast overgrowth, it's genuinely hard to tell in week 1 whether you're feeling rough from sugar withdrawal or from yeast die-off. As yeast populations start to shrink, both can feel very similar. And depending on what you're doing supplement-wise to create better elimination and drainage patterns, or more die-off, that could be a place to dial things in a little differently. Now, week 2, things are starting to settle. The really rough symptoms may fade. They should be fading. Headaches and fog, brain fog and irritability usually clear up by day 7 to 10. If you're still feeling really awful and miserable, I know all about this. It might be worth flagging. It could mean you need some more electrolytes or minerals, or you're dealing with that Candida die-off. It might be taking a bit longer. So stay encouraged. And if you're in the community, please share so we can help and guide you. Energy should be improving. And most people notice that they're not crashing after meals anymore, and there's steadier energy throughout the day. Appetite starts making more sense. You'll definitely notice you feel that never satisfied thing, and more into the never satisfied thing goes away, and you're more in tune with actual hunger versus craving. Some gut stuff is going to start shifting. And if you've had bloating or irregular digestion, this can be when it starts improving, as there's less sugar around feeding the wrong stuff in your gut. There's less of that feeling of a party going on in your digestive system. Sometimes cravings sneak back in for some people around this point, and that is usually tied to stress, poor sleep, or hormones, which can be an issue with die-off and the stuff you're going through. So again, stay encouraged and remember to check in with your sleep and lowering the stress. If you're enjoying this content, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Now, week 3, something new might be setting in. You might feel more adapted. Mental clarity and stamina, including during exercise, tend to noticeably improve. And your body's getting genuinely good at running on fat instead of sugar. Yay. Hormones can settle down. Stress hormones that may have been a bit haywire in week 1 typically normalize now. And gut changes become measurable. Yay. If you are testing for yeast overgrowth or gut imbalance, you could do labs here. If you did, you might see some real improvement on the labs. Depending on your budget, we might want to wait a little longer for labs, but this would be what you would see. And if you happened to have something sweet, please don't. But sweet food tastes really sweet. And many people report that even having a berry or a roasted carrot suddenly tastes like dessert. So the pull towards the sugar, even the habitual, I always have something sweet after dinner pull, is usually much weaker by now. Thank the Lord. If you plateau or suddenly fill off with no slip ups, don't slip up. We don't want to feed those bacteria in the yeast in the gut. I'm sure that's part of why you're doing this. Check your sleep, check your stress, your hydration, and minerals before assuming something is wrong with the plan. Keep going, be encouraged. At week 4, this is time to check in. It's a natural checkpoint. And most people feel like their new steadiness, this better energy, clearer head, steadier mood is pretty much fully in place by now. If you, again, back to budget thing, if you wanted to do labs again right now, you could do that. You might want to recheck your assessment tests if you're already in my community and you've taken those sleep, stress, gut health, hormone, and neurotransmitter, plus a couple more tests. You could definitely redo those assessment tests right now. If you're not in the community and you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, there'll be a link in the show notes below, and you too can go take these assessment tests and establish where you're at right now. So 4 weeks really is a good time to see real meaningful change. So whether you're doing blood sugar or insulin or cholesterol markers, you can check those too right now. You also might want to ask, where do I want to go from here? Do I want to keep going? So we'll talk about a little bit more about that in a minute. Gut yeast markers often show real improvement here, and that might be something that we're testing for. Cravings are quieter. You're not just white knuckling. It is worth being honest with yourself about whether you've actually resolved a relationship with sugar or just it's gone quiet for now because it hasn't been activated. So watch your stress, because that's almost always the thing that brings any addictive pattern back. This is where you might want to test the waters again. You might want to reintroduce a little bit of fruit. We can help you with the ones to add it back in and see how you do. For example, that's a good steady point. And you can clearly notice if your body reacts with bloating, fatigue, mood dips, symptoms flaring back. The initial tough patch is long gone. Any reaction you get now is a much clearer signal. Now, everyone's timeline does shift a bit depending on your starting point, stress levels, sleep, and what else is going on in your body. Again, general roadmap, not a guarantee. It's always a good idea to check in with me in the community or on one of our one-on-ones, or send me a note in the comments about your specific situation. We'll see you in the next video.